President of the United States of America, Barack Obama.
Boa tarde, todo povo brasileiro. I'm here in the White House theater sector with Brazilian guests who come to comment on the situation in Brazil already now. Not yet on the same level that of Venezuela, but is heading for that. The problem with you is that our Brazilians transformed into carnival are very accommodated and expect them to do it for you. Not growing well. They want to help, opinion, support. They learn to listen and to act. The thermometer will mark the definition and the future of the Brazilian Republic is the conduct and development that will to justice in the operation car wash. With the valiant Judge Sergio Moro had legal course on money laundering and combating public corruption and the private sector here in the United States. But unfortunately, another judge of the 50th category, indicated by criminal Dom, led by Lula and his hawks and more Dilma Rousseff, maybe, that the judge Dias Toffoli is that guy who, by their rules, will lead the trial of political criminals and common defendant Operation Car Wash and will void all effects of the our dead vigilantism. This same judge, Dias Toffoli, was the head of the electoral tribunal of you who made the determination. The presidential elections of you and fooled you all when locked in court and then to the final outcome of the elections due to wait a state called Acre and the findings. This has never been done in the elections of their country before by any head of the electoral court there. And our security agents have told us that the Venezuelan company called Smartmatic was hired to do the electronic calculation and the NSA discovered the algorithm that was introduced in the system so that proportionalizes the victory of the candidate Dilma Rousseff by a margin that entirely not suspected. We also have a lot of political corruption. The difference is that our citizens now engaged to force the system is not perfect to pressure from the accused and suspects until proven corrupt. The Congress and the judiciary of you are all occupied to protect the status quo of its politicians and judges. You are in a bush without a dog. The electoral political systems does not help you to be present with their representatives. The criminal and the civil code systems doesn't benefit you to justice. It's not punitive. You don't have a culture of safety and worse. Has no political culture. The example that happened in Iceland is good for you to organize and draw up on their our Reformation blood general and unrestricted police that ties politicians and magistrates to the population. Just walk around the streets with posters in the form of carnival manifestation doesn't work for long. Their parliamentarians and judges are only interested in securing their own salaries and benefits. Here in the USA too. But the difference is that you have no political culture. The example of Iceland, the media. You know to be manipulative when it suits, especially when it suits. Who holds the reporters, whether sold or independent, are the chief editors and owners of television stations that will defend its political line and government advertising budgets. You need to create mechanisms to bring their Brazilian brothers who do not know politics and only interested in football, carnival, ballads, novels, and other bullshit circus. Take great care with the proposed Police Reform Party Workers, or PT, and the Communist Party of Brazil, and the Socialism and Freedom Party, or PSOL, and all other parties' red and misguided political philosophy. Your military will not venture again to the point of risking his general and officers the salaries and careers. And there's the parties that behave like prostitutes and who care only for positions and part fund sharing. Agreements that the government budget of you in Brazil in the billions of dollars. How do you expect the country to invest in the 5 pillars of education, health, safety, sanitation, and agriculture? Today, Brazil is being governed in practice by the most out of prostitution that is the PMDB, through its vice president, Michel Temer, the head of the Chamber of Deputies of U, Eduardo Cunha, and the head of the Senate, Renan Calheiros. Since Eduardo Cunha and Renan Calheiros are appointed in the scam that Operation Car Wash is investigating, not to mention the other prostitutes parties such as the Progressive Party or PP, which holds the largest number of politicians involved in corruption Operation Car Wash. The idea of the march to Brasilia is interesting, but how many poor Brazilians can move to it? You have created a musical jingle to summon the masses? Created a fundraising movement to publicize the business hours of television you? Organized in logistics? Planning is almost everything. Create a psychological energy to it. The Brazil country is dying. Institutional and political and judicial hypocrisy is waning. React. Create a strong political culture for the good of the family, for the sake of morality, of legal certainty, and say a big no to this erroneous political philosophy by which they are passing in ominous figure of Lula, Rui Falcão, Dilma Rousseff, and all their opportunistic political alias. I have given her with me that the PMDB will get empty the whack power that your president has to launch all candidate for the next elections with these suspicious electronic voting machines. We have data that indicate that the PMDB will make arrangements with the PT in order to gain the name of Lula and Dilma Rousseff not follow the lead in the investigations of Operation Car Wash. I fear for you Brazilians. I would love that you do not become one Venezuela. You are still richest country in Latin America, but this is guided. Police that Dias Toffoli already helped win marks the beginning of the end of the country Brazil. It all works out in march to Brasilia. Yes, you can.